Hey motherfuckers, put the kettle on, make a cup of tea, settle back because we have got some work to do. Hey monkeys, how you doing? Damian Keys here. We are on the hashtag Ask Damo show and we have got some questions. Well, hopefully we've got some questions to answer. So this is where you guys have asked some questions and I'm going to do my best to answer them off the cuff. And with me, as always, is Melissa.
Hey.
So hopefully we've got some questions. We have got stuff building up on our wall. So we've got the new Atmospherics poster, which has been signed, which we had last week. Thank you very much for that. The new Chasing Deer CD and a handsome picture. Also, we've got a Suffer No Fools CD on Mithra. I love the artwork. Over that side, we've got Furion and we've got Guerrilla Riot. We're starting to really build some stuff up. So yeah, we need your stuff. That's what we need. We want to pack this wall so full that there is no room. And have we got any stuff?
Oh, we've got stuff.
We've got stuff!
We've got multiple stuff. Here we go.
Multiple stuff. Oh, thanks.
Oh,
it's like Christmas! And anyone who knows me knows I am a huge fan of Santa. Right, let's see what we've got. So, bands for a plug for this week. We have got Sweet Release. Thank you very much. So, Sweet Release, this is... I think there is a bit of a... Sweet Release. I'm going to have a listen to this. I'm also going to check out your Facebook and your YouTube and whatever other socials you're on, and I'm probably going to send you a thank you later, and I will put this, once I've listened to it, somewhere on the wall. So these guys are based in Warrington. Wow. An industrial town in the northwest, which it is. Yeah, I've been there a few times. So Joshua, Nathan, Kevin and Sean, I will be in touch, and thank you very much for that CD. I will have a listen to it, and I will get in touch soon. What's in here? What's in the package? Oh, Prezzies. Ooh, it's merch.
Oh,
you know how? Oh, look at all this merch. Oh man, this is merch and a half. Do you know what? Not only that, I love this band. This is a band called Damn Dice, and there's t-shirts for everyone. This one is a lady small, so that will fit you for death.
Thank you.
Oh, look at this. This is a lady small as well. Oh, look at that. One for Sarah. Look, you get one of those. Woo!
You get a t-shirt.
This one. You get a t-shirt. Oprah. You get a t-shirt. Al gets a t-shirt. Oh, look, there's loads of different types of t-shirts. Except they're all ladies. I'm not that small. And a CD. I will have one of these on the wall. Oh, look at all this stuff. Guys, you are going to be on the wall. If I can help, I'll be getting in touch recently. Oh, look at that. Look at this.
I've seen this before. Right. I mean, I've seen lighters, just not much lighters.
I will be wearing this. I'm going to do a picture of this. I'll get it on the Instagram and I'll send it across to you. Thank you so much. I will be wearing this. This will go in my wardrobe, and I will get something on this wall, and we'll start piling up. So I will also put links to these bands in below. Anything you need, give me a shout. You absolutely deserve that. Right then, let's put this stuff there and let's get on with the show.
Hannah is asking, do you have any advice on how to come up with band names?
Yeah, I do actually, yeah. Band names is a really, really interesting thing because back in the day, which was probably around about Monday afternoon, before social media, you could have anything you want. And people still think like it's 2006 when social media is not a thing. Nowadays, you have to be able to find a band name. So before I get into how are you going to choose your band name, just a little bit of a background. Number one, it really, really helps. It's not imperative, but it really, really helps if someone like me can hear your band name from someone just saying it and find it instantly online. Because nowadays, it has to be quick. People have got this attention span of a goldfish, and they will literally pick up their phone and they'll do a quick search. If they can't find you, the moment will tend to be gone. So rather than actually just saying, because of our band name, we have to basically just start pushing out there so people can visually see it, why not have a band name that when someone says something, they can literally go, yep, that makes sense. They'll go and they'll put it into the search engine and it will pop up. Now, it doesn't have to be the only band name in the world. You can't, there's ways of getting around it, but I need to be able to put your band name into Google, into Facebook, into YouTube, and if 15 other bands pop up, just choose another one. The best thing with this is, when it comes to a band name, is you've got an infinite amount of possibilities. There's so many things that you can have. So do some work online once you've actually come up with your band name. Now, how I would look for a band name is quite simple. This is what I tend to do with our bands that we have, and whenever I'm talking to bands, one thing I do is I go on Spotify and I go and find just anything, just like a playlist of Radiohead or whoever, and then all I do is I start picking out words. It could be anything, and I just write a word down on a piece of paper. And then what I do is I just do that times by about 3 A4 pieces of paper. So there, on each piece of paper, there's probably 50, 60 just words, not names, just words. And I would do that on 3 different pieces of paper, and then I'd get a separate piece of paper, and then I'd start putting them together. So I take that word, and then maybe actually put it into something that makes sense. And you can do this. I mean, it's such an easy way of doing it, but you can do this and then you can check online with what works. But rather than coming up with a name, like back in the day, Oasis, that's great. But nowadays, it's a drink, it's a band. Like, how would you find that? It's not that easy. So that's what I would do, is I tend to go on Spotify. I tend to write down loads and loads of words, and it could be anything. It could be Paris, because that's a city. It could be t-shirt. It could be mug. It could be the things that are around me, and then I'll have them all on a piece of paper, and then I'll just start putting them together and go, that's quite good, and I come up with a short list. Then I go online and I start searching for them. You know, I really think a band name is quite important nowadays. It's more important than it ever has been, purely because people need to find you as opposed to anything else. So that's what I would do. I would, if you want a bit of advice on how to find a band name, go and find words, write them all down on a piece of paper, and then start just putting them together and seeing what looks good. Because sometimes when you take 2 words and you put them together, you can actually see possibilities for marketing, for the artistic side to it, and that works as well. So actually sit there, put the work in on actually putting these words together and coming up with something that you like. And then don't forget to get online and go on Facebook and YouTube and Google and start putting these things in and seeing what comes up and how quickly you'll be able to rise to the top of that search engine.
So, Chris Howe says, thanks for everything you do for young musicians. It's inspirational, which is be nice. Thanks, Chris. And as a songwriter who isn't an artist, how can I get a publishing deal to write for other people?
Good. Okay, so good question. And this is actually a video that we've just done this week on top 10 tips for getting a publishing deal. And it was actually this question that came up that triggered me to want to do that, because it is a tricky one. If you're not the actual artist and you are just the writer yourself, then how do you start going around it? So there are a couple of tips, and there's a video with a lot more detail on the YouTube. So go and subscribe to YouTube and go and check that out. But things like when you're a writer, the things that really matter are getting into a position where you're not waiting to be inspired, and you're actually setting yourself up as a professional writer. Then after that, I'd actually go and start writing for other people. I'd actually go and find people and start writing for them. So, and I'd also be looking at a lot of collabs, a lot of partnerships. Collabs are amazing because not only are you actually getting someone else's input, but when it comes to a subjective thing like songwriting, where someone will say, I think it's good, and someone else will say, I don't think it's good, then it is nice to have someone who can actually almost take a step back and just say, I think that line that you're doing there is cheesy. You know, lyrics are really important. That line is a bit cheesy. Or that middle eight's a bit complicated, it's a bit faffy. I think you could simplify this a little bit. Having that kind of mentorship where it's just another songwriter saying, why not do that? And actually keeping yourself on track. I think that's a really important thing. Now, when it comes to actually getting your stuff out there, 2 things. Number 1, distribution is still very important. I feel very sorry for all the songs that are stuck on someone's hard drive because they're writing songs and going, yeah, it's okay, and then it's stuck on someone's laptop forever and ever until the laptop dies and it's never heard from ever again. I'd rather it be somewhere. I'd rather it be on a website, whether it's a website, social media, a YouTube, just for the sake of being out there. And then what you can do is you can start pushing that to artists. So in order to collaborate, but to get your work out there, one thing I would do, I mean, I live in Brighton. If I was a songwriter, one thing I would do is I would go and find really talented, good-looking singers, male and female, who aren't songwriters, and I'd say to them, look, you are a great singer, but you're not an artist. Why don't you take my songs and go out and do a bunch of gigs? And I'd be doing bits of co-writes, but I'd also be writing for people and saying, look, let me help you put something together so you can get a guitarist, you can go out and do these gigs, because the more of your stuff that's out there with these songs, which is instead of being stuck on your hard drive, the better it is. Now, other tips are production values are very important nowadays. So I know a good song is a good song, but you don't want to just write stuff and the song being fantastic and the production isn't good enough, because nowadays in the day and age that we're at, production is very, very important. So you do have to get good. And if you're not good at the production, you do need to go and find someone who can help with that. And then lastly, really, it still comes down to having an audience and building that audience. And actually, so people know you are the songwriter in the area. LinkedIn is an amazing way, by the way, if you are a songwriter, to actually go and network, meet people, to get yourself in front of other people. So that's the main thing. And then and the other thing as well is if you're writing songs and you're doing all the things that I've just said, and you feel like you're writing songs on a regular basis and you're wondering why you haven't got a publishing deal, then I would look into a music industry solicitor. Now, the thing with a music industry solicitor is there's not as many music industry solicitors as there are normal solicitors, but what they are is they're very connected in the music industry. So you can actually go and have a sit down with them and say, here's my music, here's what I'm doing, what do you think? Now, if they like it and they want to represent you, then they can actually start pushing that into the music industry, because solicitors are connected nowadays and they have got the ins with lots and lots of labels. And you'll hear this solicited versus unsolicited argument. And nowadays people say, we don't take anything which is unsolicited. And the reason for that is because it flags up loads and loads of issues in it, with copywriting and other bits. And solicitors is a great way of getting your music to the right people, but they have to believe in you. But don't forget, a solicitor is not like a manager. A manager has to believe in you because they're taking 20% or whatever they're going to take. A solicitor is just on an hourly rate, depending on sort of what money what needs to be done when it comes to contractuals and everything else. But they're very, very connected. So a lot of solicitors will do a free sort of half an hour consultation where you can go and meet them and say, look, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm at, what should I be doing next? And they'll give you advice. But even if they don't do it for free and you have to pay for their time, at least they will tell you why they can't give that to the music industry. Whether they say it's not polished enough, it's not the production's not good enough, whether they say the songs aren't good enough, whether they say there's not enough of it, whatever that reason is, at least you've got a reason in then knowing what to work on next. So those are the things I'd think about when you want to get a publishing deal. Music industry solicitors are very, very important and very good at networking. You still need to distribute, you need to collab as much as possible, and it still comes down to how much you can write, what standard you're doing at, how much you can carry on learning, so that eventually you can build this up. And it's not a short-term thing. This is going to be, this is a career. So don't expect any publishing deal in the next few weeks. You're working towards something. And I know plenty of songwriters that took 10 years of writing a lot, and then all of a sudden they had their publishing deal. A friend of mine had his first publishing deal. He got signed, 40 grand he got. And I was like, wow, that's so cool, you got a 40 grand publishing deal. And he said, yeah, but I haven't been paid for the last 10 years. So if you average that out, it's 4 grand a year. Yeah, and I was like, oh, but then from there, that was kickstarted his career, and he went on to loads of great stuff. So, so this is a long-term game, songwriting. This is not quickly jump into a record deal and try and put out a record and hope for the best. This is a long-term career of learning and churning out songs and networking and building your reputation.
Would you ever advise kind of talking to sort of professional songwriters in the industry as
well? I would, yeah, because I think songwriting is an art form and it's a craft, and I think the people who actually don't wait to be inspired, I think the people who actually who recognise the fact that tempos in the charts don't vary as much as you'd think. I think when it comes to song names, I think when it comes to structure, when it comes to arrangement, when it comes to instrumentation, every tiny detail that you can learn and actually get advice from someone who's actually doing it, even if you don't end up using all the information, I think that is crucial. And that's what I would do. I'd spend so much time learning about the production side as well as the songwriting side, the arrangement side, and I'd be getting tips from people who are credible writing, and I'd find those people on LinkedIn and I'd say, what do I need to do next?
Yeah, and what they did and everything. Yeah, totally. On to question 3 then. Jack Lecoq even, is asking, how many songs should we add to our EP? We have 4 and are thinking about adding a 5th track to show off our diversity. What are the benefits of adding more songs?
Okay, so I had a quick chat with Jack this week on Facebook. I thought this was a very, very interesting question. How many songs? Because we haven't got loads and loads of money. So firstly, before we make that decision, one thing I'd say is, what are we using the EP for? Because that's the crucial thing. Because if we're not thinking of that, if we're not thinking of the audience, then we're thinking about ourselves. We want to put more songs on because that's exciting for us. We want to show off our diversity, which I'll come to in a minute because that's a slightly separate thing. But when it comes to how many songs on there, what are we using it for? If we're going to sell it, an extra song, might make it more value for money depending on how much you're putting on there. If you're looking to build an audience, so if you haven't got a big audience, what's the point in selling it? So in which case you're looking at building an audience. If you're going to do that, if you're going to build an audience, then does it make any difference between 4 and 5? So I think this is quite an interesting question. One of the things I thought was very interesting was the diversity thing. Now, I think you have to be very, very careful with diversity in a band, because if you say, if you're an actor and you say, look at my range, I can do this at a role, I can do this role, and I can do this role. Well, in a band, you're not trying to do that. You're trying to say, this is who we are, this is what we stand for, this is real. And if you say, but also we could do a funk track, also we can do a rock track, also we could do a jazz track, your audience won't understand, because, for the audiences that like Damn Dice, which is like, it's rock and roll, it's rock, and so their audience is going to like that. If they say, but we sometimes delve into a little bit of funk, the audience, like me, will go, well, I'm not a fan of funk, but I love this. So all of a sudden that diversity actually goes against you a little bit. So I'd be careful of being too diverse with your stuff. I think it's more interesting to have a message and stand for something. And so then when it comes to how many songs that you put on, I don't think it actually makes that much difference. But what does make a difference is how much money you've got. So if you are going into the studio and you've got as much money as you need, then you've got this song that you really, really think needs to go on there, then you can put it on. If you have only got a certain amount of time in the studio and you're looking at adding an extra song, I absolutely wouldn't do that. In fact, what would be more important is to have one song. You can do a lot of damage with one song. So it doesn't need to have more songs. I don't think anyone's going to be more excited to buy or have your EP with an extra song. If you're looking at it and thinking, but the 4 songs we've got are just absolutely solid gold, and we've got this 5th song which is absolutely solid gold, and we can go in the studio for some more time and we have got the money, then there's no harm in doing it. But for me, I'd probably stick to 4. And I'd probably pick the best ones. There's always going to be a temptation in a band on a live gig and with an album and with a single to add. Always. There's always going to be that add. There's going to be a time where you just go, we could do 25 minutes of a live show, but we could do 40. Bet you the 25 minutes live show will be better than the 40-minute live show, and people would appreciate the 25 minutes more. Who's going to appreciate the 40 minutes more? The band. So it's a selfish, personal decision that you're taking. When it comes to the EP, that 4-track EP, with the best tracks that you've possibly got, is enough. People are going to appreciate that. And then 6 months later, you do the second EP, and if that song is still as good as you think it is, you put it on the next EP. So I'd probably stick to 4. I don't think there's any reason for it to go to 5, unless you've already recorded the 4, they're already done, you've got this new song, and it's better than anything you've got before, and then, okay, maybe. But other than that, no reason to have the 5th. I'd be very careful of diversity. I don't think, if by diversity you mean in styles, I don't think people buy into diversity with bands. And if you look at bands that have tried it down the line, there's not been many. In fact, there's been very few that have come anywhere close to being successful, because when traditionally people will go into HMV or they'll go onto Spotify and they'll type in the genre they like, there isn't a miscellaneous section. So therefore you've got to be very, very careful. People like what they like. And if you try and cross too many genres, and I don't mean saying we're a funk rock band, because that's one thing, but if you're a funk band and you play rock, then that's 2 separate things. You've got to be quite careful with that.
Yeah, it muddles the brand a little bit. Would you say as well, like, if you released a 4-song EP, it would maybe be good to save the 5th one as a single release once the momentum of the EPs maybe died down a bit?
Yeah, this is quite interesting. I mean, the good thing with where we're at the moment is there's no rules. I love the fact that there's no rules. So this idea of an EP or an album, fuck that. If you want to put out 7 songs, you put out 7 songs. If you want to put out 2 songs, you put out 2 songs. What you call it makes no difference whatsoever. Your job is always to look after the audience. And the way you look after the audience is by making great content. Now, this idea that you have to put a release out, which has to be an album, and then people will go and do something with the album, and then over the next 6 months, you do another one. Or you write an amazing song, you go, fuck, we've written an amazing song. You go in the studio, you record it, and you put it out. And then 3 months later, you go, fuck, we've just written an amazing song. Let's do it again. Why not? You can put out a song a day, you can put out a song a week, you can put out a song a month. We are living in a time where the rules are gone because it is all about you taking control, you having your audience. Now, if you sign up with a major label, they'll have their ways of doing it and their systems, which is slightly different. But if you're a DIY band building an audience and putting music out yourself, an EP can be 45 songs if you want. You can do whatever you want because there's no such thing anymore. An album is this. This is actually this is an EP because it's got the songs on it. But technically, this can be whatever I say it is. This is an album because it's a CD. I'm putting a CD player. So I think it's really important to stop thinking of these rules of what that is. There's no such thing nowadays as as a traditional album, because the reason why we had traditional albums was because the amount of physical time you could get onto a vinyl and then the amount of physical time that you could get onto a CD. So if you can get 70 minutes onto a CD and you divide that up and go, it works out at 12 songs. So people go, well, traditionally between 10 and 12 songs is an album. Music is free. Music is in the air. So if you want to put an album out with 179 songs on it, you can do that. Whatever you want to do now, there is no rules. So how many songs you put out is completely up to you. And if you want to put out an EP with 2 songs, call it an EP, call it an album, it doesn't make any difference. It's just music now.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that actually. Hey Damo, religiously watch your videos and they have helped us in the band no end. Could we have a shout out for the band Heart of the Town? And also
Heart of the Town!
Heart of the Town! And also my question is, if you were starting a band now, what would your strategy be? Big love.
That's a really nice message. Thanks. If I was starting a band now, I think I would be very, very careful with what social media strategy I put into place. And I've said this a lot. I mean, with what I do, I'm learning a lot about social media. So I feel like I'm as much now in the social media game as I'm in the music industry. And so therefore I'm experimenting with social media every single day. If I was in a band, I wouldn't be in the social media game. I'd be in the making music game. And therefore I wouldn't be playing the game I am at the moment with lots of different types of social media. What I'd be doing is I'd be looking after an audience in a less amount of places. So yes, I'd have my Facebook because Facebook has got so many benefits to what it does. I personally would look at my skill set. If it was a band and with what I'm able to bring to it, I would be on YouTube, and I would have a strategy in place of how I could build my strategy on YouTube, because I think YouTube is such an underrated, underused platform for musicians. One thing that I talk about quite a lot on the Facebook Live, which is Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, by the way. One thing I talk about on the Facebook Live quite a lot is as musicians, we have got the benefit of a skill that most people in the world don't have. And I think this is really important. So I work with lots of businesses who are talking about social media, and it's lots of organisation and less creativity. Now, as a musician, a great musician can pick up a guitar or drums or bass or whatever it is. They can sit down and they can perform something which provokes and triggers an emotion in someone. And that is so massively powerful. And then I see musicians not using the most powerful gift that they've got. As a musician, if you were a superhero, that would be your superpower. It would be the fact that you can trigger emotion. You can do something that makes people stop and say, wow, that's amazing, or that's really funny, or that's really sad, or yes, that's political and I agree with it. Whatever it is, you can provoke that emotion. That's your superpower. And it's used so infrequently. And so if I had a band, I would make sure that I did something on YouTube probably every day, 7 days a week. And I'd do a bit of talk to camera as well. So it's a little bit vloggy, but it'd be more about my journey. And I would be putting out songs on YouTube that I wouldn't put out. So this idea that I'm going to write 100 songs and I'm going to pick the best 12 and I'm going to put it on an album. No, I just say 100 songs. I'm going to put all 100 songs on YouTube, and I'm going to just be honest with you guys, and I'm going to say I wrote this song today. It's not one of my best, but I quite like this bit of it, and I might keep that title, or I might try this. But anyway, here's the song, or here's the chorus, or whatever it is, and it takes people on the journey, so that when I just say, and out of all the songs I've got, these were the winners that I had, I feel like people would come with me on that journey over the 100 songs, rather than me saying, bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. An album. And if you do that, then you're saying, wait, go and buy it. And it's just an advert. And I'd say, what I would probably do is I would do the opposite. And I'd say, look, I can trigger emotion, as a singer-songwriter, as a band. And in doing that, I would try and do that every single day. So that's what I would do. That would be my strategy. I think you could still do the same thing on many other platforms, but I would look at, what's very important is the question is, what would I do? I would look at my skill set and what I can bring to the party. And I think YouTube would suit me very, very well. I feel like I could be consistent. I feel like I could put a lot of time and effort into lots of other platforms which don't actually make as much of a difference. But I'd still be on Twitter so people can get in touch with me. For me personally, I probably wouldn't be on Instagram because I'm not very artistic. I'm not very good at taking pictures, so it wouldn't be something that I would be on until I felt like I had lots of extra time, which probably wouldn't be the case. So I think that's what I would do. And then when it came to strategies, I would go to town on finding someone that could help me organise my time and the band's time. So I wouldn't be looking for a manager. I would do everything myself, and I would self-manage. But what I would do is I would be looking at someone, a sounding point, so I could say, this is the time that we've got. What are our priorities, and what can we do within that time? Because I feel like one thing I hear a lot, and I would definitely hear from other musicians in my band, is I just don't have time. And I just think, every time someone says I don't have time, I always want to say, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You do have time. And I look at my own time and I just think, I'm not the Prime Minister. I mean, can you imagine, like, whoever you vote for, whoever you don't vote for, but what a shit job that is. Like, who wants that job? And like, from when you wake up in the morning to when someone is going, do this, don't forget this. I mean, it's just, you've got time. There is time, and you can wake up a bit earlier, you can go to bed later, or you can declutter your life. I was talking to someone yesterday about decluttering life, and usually the way I'd look at it with this decluttering of life is, when you move house, you realise how much shit you've got. And you're packing stuff up going, oh my God, I've got so much crap. And then you're like, why have I even got half this stuff? And some stuff you're going, I haven't even seen this stuff for like 2 years. And it's just stuff in your life. And then it takes you to move house to get rid of half your stuff. And that big life event happens and you get rid of a lot of your stuff. Now, it's the same thing with your time. When you actually look at your time, there's lots of stuff that you will do that you just go, I don't need to do that. I don't need to have that. I can shrink bits of my day into smaller bite-sized pieces. Like, without sounding harsh, but if it takes you half an hour to make dinner and then 15 minutes to eat it, well, find a way to do that in 5 minutes. There's lots of things that you can do in your life that you go, I've just got into this habit and I tend to watch that on TV, or I tend to go out and play bingo. But those things that you just go, I'm just going to have to actually look at this and say, what can I just get rid of and sacrifice? And I think I'd need someone on the outside to help me with that, because I think it's really important. I have Katie who has my diary, and I just say, you're in charge of my time, fit everything into that. Here's what I want to achieve, fit it in. She will be much more ruthless with my time than I will be, because I'll go, oh, but I quite like that. I kind of want to still do that. And instead of, when people ask for a meeting, and I go, yeah, we'll have a meeting, we'll have a cup of tea, Katie will say, you've got 15 minutes. So I'll go, right, okay, I'll still get everything I need to do in 15 minutes. I'll do it in 15 minutes. But if I don't, I'll just go, yeah, we'll have a meeting, and I'll be sitting there 40 minutes later. So that's what I would do. But the strategy for me would be my skill set. It'd be YouTube, still have Facebook. I probably have Twitter because I like the way that it works well with YouTube. And I would be writing every day, and I would be, rather than putting out records, I'd be just writing music, building an audience, and then I'd be finding a way to monetize it. And if you want to know how I would monetize that audience, go and watch the video on my YouTube, which I'll put in a tag on this, which is I saved the music industry. Because that's how I would do it. Because I am an absolute believer that I could build an audience and then I could just monetize it just better than everybody else. Because I'm an arrogant, egotistical wanker.
All right, and on that note, that is our last question.
What a note to end. Good, fantastic. Well, thanks very much. Right. Thank you for watching. I'd love it if you subscribe to the YouTube, and I'd love it if you just give me a comment. Come and say hi. Don't forget, we need more stuff for our walls. Thanks to Damned Ice and Sweet Release for sending this stuff through. Anything you need, just hit me up. That's why I'm there. Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram, all of them will come straight through to me. Anything you need, just give me a shout. Facebook Live, Wednesday, 7 p.m. This will be out Friday, but we've got content coming out this weekend. So anything you need, give me a shout. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow.